Welcome back to Askewed Reviews. And since this is the same week that Labor Day falls in, I'm doing a bunch of workplace comedies. And this one is also a viewer request, and it is for the 2009 film, The Slammin Salmon. Here is your trivia question for today. Connor was fired from what hit TV show? The answer will be at the end of this episode. So, in the film The Slammin Salmon, everything takes place at a restaurant that has the same name. Now, this restaurant is owned and operated by Cleon Salmon, who at one point was a heavyweight championship boxer. Now, unfortunately for Cleon, he spends his money in strange ways and makes some really wild decisions, including making a bet against the Yakuza, which he lost, and now he will either have to make $20,000 in one night at the restaurant or lose the Slammin' Salmon. So now Cleon, along with his manager Rich, are going to try to inspire the waitstaff to sell as much as possible, and they do so by offering a grand prize. So, with the winner getting a cash prize and the loser getting a punch to the ribs by Cleon, will everyone end up actually working together, or will it be everyone for themselves? So, this movie was directed and co written by Kevin Heffernan, and this was actually his directorial debut. This movie was created during the 2007 writers' strike. Now, the reason it was allowed to be made is that the writers that were involved were not part of the Writers Guild. So, you probably recognized quite a few of the main cast, as this is primarily the group known as Broken Lizard. You've probably seen a lot of their other films, and I was very much looking forward to seeing this one, as I do enjoy a lot of their other movies. But I'll be honest, this one definitely was not as good as some of the others. I feel a special recognition needs to go out to actor Paul Soter, as he played the twins of Donnie and Dave. Now, the reason I say this is because I've seen a lot of films where one actor is playing two characters, usually like twins or clones and whatnot, but I feel like they did a great job not only with the interactions between the two characters, but in the fight scene that they had, which looked very believable. Michael Clark Duncan plays the character of Cleon Salmon in this film, and there's actually a couple of references to other films that he appeared in. In the movie, they mention that Cleon was a boxer from Hell's Kitchen, and in the movie Daredevil, Duncan plays a character named Kingpin, and the movie does also take place in Hell's Kitchen, and there is also some boxing references as well. During the bloopers at the end of the film, Duncan also references his character of John Coffey from The Green Mile. Kobe Smulders plays the character of Tara, and this was actually right during the middle of the height of fame that she saw from the television series How I Met Your Mother as the character of Robin. Now, just like the movie 43, they had tons of celebrity cameos in this film that I do not understand how they contracted them. You have Will Forte, Sendhil Ramamurthy, who you probably know very well from the television series Heroes, which he actually makes a reference to in the end credits bloopers. Also, if you weren't aware, Ramamurthy and Jay Chandrasekhar are actually cousins. You also have Olivia Munn, Jim Gaffigan, Jim Rash, Mark Evan Jackson, Vivica A. Fox, Morgan Fairchild, and even Lance Henriksen, who plays the character of Dick Lobo, which, by the way, this is supposed to be a spoof on Dick Wolf, who created Law and Order. Now, the real joke here is that Lobo is actually Spanish for wolf. This movie was entirely filmed in California. So when it comes to the film The Slammin' Salmon, I did find this movie very funny at times, but I do have to say it's a very weak story. Like, the plot does not make much sense, and there's definitely choices, especially at the beginning of the film, that don't need to be made whatsoever to advance the story. So, at least for me, I'm going to give this movie a 2 out of 5. Now, if you did enjoy this film, other movies I recommend checking out are Waiting, Still Waiting, Super Troopers, and Movie 43. And now, here's the answer to the trivia question from the beginning of this episode. Connor was fired from what hit TV show? So, the show that Connor was let go from was CFI Hotlanta, which essentially CFI in this world is some sort of combination of Law and Order and CSI. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Askewed Reviews, and if there's a movie you'd like to see get a review, just mention it in the comments.